Hey guys, how's it going? This is Josh back again with another movie review, and today we're going to talk about the newest Transformers movie, Revenge of the Beast. Revenge of the Beast is essentially about the Maximals, which is a species of Transformer that uses animal as their disguises as opposed to like electronic devices or vehicles or what have you. They are revealed to have been protecting this device that world-eating Transformer Unicron wants, and he sends his Terracon hunter Scourge to retrieve said key. Fortunately, the Maximals make it out alive before Scourge could take the key and give Unicron the ability to eat more planets or whatever, I guess. And they end up on Earth. The key is split in two, and now, due to the powers of the key, which allows Transformers to move between space and time, Optimus Prime and the rest of the Autobots try to retrieve it before Scourge does. And eventually, while meeting up with the Maximals, they unite and try to defend Earth and Cybertron from their incoming doom. Now, overall, I must say, I really appreciate that this movie is way more stripped back and simple than its predecessors. It's not taking itself too seriously, and of course it still has the tropes and cliches from previous films. However, they're handled in a way that, despite being similar, they're much more to the point and shorter, so you're not lingering and thinking about how dumb everything is. The animation and transformations in this film are really good, especially compared to the first five, where a lot of that shit really wasn't visible for me. Of course, there would be scenes where it would be close-up of the Transformers and even them interacting with the humans that looked really good, but the transformation scenes and the fight scenes were always just visual nightmares to me. And here, they're handled much better. There are wider, clearer shots, and you can understand what's going on in each fight scene, who's winning, who's losing, who's died, and who hasn't. The action is directed much better here. However, it's not as intense as the Michael Bay films, nor as brutal. One thing I will also commend this movie for is there's way more logic and contextual reasoning for certain cliches this go around. Like, those excessively dangerous driving scenes where the main character has like that one-note reaction in the original films isn't here. Instead, the scenes in which characters are frightened or terrified also builds character, so it's not just there for comic relief or for the audience to just point and laugh because the character is screaming. It actually helps develop the character and allows the audience to understand the type of person that these people are. Speaking of the main character, I must say, the main character is probably the best we've seen in this entire franchise, which isn't the biggest compliment considering how bad the main characters were in the previous movies. But essentially, Noah is more like Spike from the G1 cartoon than Sam ever was, considering his backstory and how less whiny he is to be involved in all of this, which could also be appreciated. All things considered, the humans do take more of a backseat in this movie, which you would think would be appreciated, something that I feel like all Transformers fans have been asking for since the first one. However, the Transformers in this movie are easily just as shallow as they always been. And oh my gosh, speaking of shallow, like I said, the Transformers in this movie are shallow. Obviously, the Terracons, the evil ones, are incredibly shallow. There's almost nothing to them. Despite showing bits and spurts of personality here and there, you don't even know any of the other characters' names. You just know Scourge, and there's a flying one, and then there's one with a wrecking ball. And then the Maximals are honestly even more shallow than the Terracons. You would think the characters that are in the title of this film would have some development, but no. The Maximals are just like the Dinobots. The Maximals are just like the Wreckers. The Maximals are just like Jetfire. They are just there to be auxiliary characters added to the third act of this film so you could sell more toys. There's no real development. A lot of it is just exposition being thrown all over the screen just for the sake of them telling you instead of showing you, which has always been what this franchise has done. Like, there's always just 2 or 3 expositional scenes in these movies explaining new bounds of which Transformers have either been a part of history, the Transformers history themselves, their relationships, etc. It's just told. The only thing that ever really feels natural in these movies is the relationship between Bumblebee and the main character, and honestly, the relationship between Bumblebee and Optimus Prime, which I feel like is actually handled really well in this movie. And speaking of Optimus Prime, I must say, he is a bitch. Like, seriously, I did not like Optimus Prime in this movie, and I haven't liked Optimus Prime for the past few movies. I haven't really liked him since Transformers 2. Here, he is probably at his worst and his weakest. So not only is he just kind of insufferable to see on screen up until I want to say the third act, but also he's just like a stick in the mud who gets his ass beat, so you don't even really respect the authority that he tries to command on screen. The character, or the Transformer, that is actually the most entertaining and endearing in this movie is Mirage. Surprisingly, he's played by Pete Davidson, who I'm usually not the biggest fan of. He's my favorite thing in this movie. He gives the Mirage character a layer in this companionship that Bumblebee always lacked due to the lack of actual dialogue from him. The fact that Mirage can speak, and kind of like Jazz has been more accustomed with like Earth culture, it allows their relationship to feel more natural as it goes along. So all the credit in the world to Pete Davidson and Anthony Ramos as Noah for, like I said, not being annoying. But yeah, Optimus is a bitch, and Bumblebee and Mirage have actually way better moments in this movie and are way cooler. Scourge is played by Peter Dinklage, which you would think would be a good thing, but it's literally for no reason. This character isn't portrayed in any way that would require someone as talented as Peter Dinklage, and unfortunately it is incredibly disappointing to just see this character be a generic robot villain. He's sadistic, he wants to kill things, and he's serving his master, and it turns out his master is way stronger than him. So all this is, it's just like Revenge of the Fallen, it's just like Dark of the Moon, it's just like Age of Extinction, it's just like The Last Night. Always the same thing with these movies and these characters. They give this character Scourge no nuance, no unique design, no unique voice, mannerisms, or actions. He is like an even more boring version of the Lockdown character from the fourth film, or an even worse variation of like Shockwave from the third film. He doesn't have any color to the design. There's nothing unique about it. It's just a bad guy with a gun who's really strong. And since he's played by Peter Dinklage, it hurts even more because of how talented that actor is. They could have done something with this character at all that would have made him stand out from the other villains in this franchise, but no, he's just another generic bad guy. And Unicron does this film no favors. I've never been a fan of the Unicron character because it's like, bruh, how do you even beat that? It's a planet. This is dumb. And in this film, it is literally more of that. He's just Scourge's boss yelling at him when he doesn't get his way and hurting him, forcing Scourge to act a little bit more hastily. That's it. It is not something that is interesting. The design of the Unicron character isn't cool. It isn't unique. It's something that has been done before and has been done way better. Overall, this is a Transformers movie that takes 2 steps forward and 2 steps back. There are improvements on the visual end and the companionship Transformer character end, as well as the main character. However, everything else in this movie, when it comes to the plot, when it comes to the writing, when it comes to the villain, when it comes to the other supporting characters, it is just there. It is just existing while explosions and funny moments and loud things happen on the screen. Maybe one day we'll get an interesting director-writer combination, or, just a singular writer-director who could give us a unique and interesting take on these characters. But unfortunately, it just feels like on the live-action end, we are just going to constantly be stuck in a perpetual Michael Bay cycle of shallow CGI characters that don't really matter, even though they're the name of the film. Overall, this movie was watchable. It wasn't terrible. I didn't hate it. However, it had a ton of potential, and the potential shined through at moments, thus making the lows, the valleys of this film hit even harder, all things considered. Did you like this film? Did you see it? Would you recommend it? Like, share, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I will see y'all in the next video. Bye-bye.